and good morning. Wow, what a day it was for me yesterday, and what I have in front of me this morning feels overwhelming because I didn't get so much done yesterday. I spent very little time on the computer yesterday, and I have probably over 500 emails already that are unopened to go through today, and that's without the new ones coming in. And so I have a tremendous amount of work ahead of me today. And that's not even some of the other things that I need to get done, including my study group this morning with the Mystics in Training. So I'm going to be away from the computer a good bit today too, for at least a few hours in the middle of the day. And as I came to the computer this morning, instead of answering emails, I looked at my Facebook page and I watched a couple of videos that were sent to me, fairly short videos. The first one was a bunch of people saying, "I love you." And I thought of the many people around the world that I've been able to touch this year and that have touched me back, and that we share our love with each other. And the second video that I watched right after that one was sent in by Soferia, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it was called "How Can We Be One?" In fact, let me read what I wrote. Today's title is "Man Sees Outside, God Sees the Heart." And the little blurb that I wrote is, I watched the video posted on my Facebook page, "How Can We Be One?" It was a provocative poem by Simon Welsh. I hope that's his last name. I took it from the website that appeared at the end. He saw that our separation through human eyes is very real, as he painted a vivid word picture of human realities. He was seeing as man sees, the outward appearances. God sees the heart of the rich and the poor, the queen and the whore. And he loves us anyway, because through his eyes, we really are all one. Even that poet saw it, in a sense, as his own capacity to love came out. That is God, the capacity to love. In that respect, we can know that we really are one. Neither video brought tears to my eyes because even though I feel they're almost right there, I'm almost too tired to cry. And so I laugh instead. Yet both videos were heartwarming. But I have such a sense of exhaustion. And yet I'm here because I have a capacity to love, even when I'm feeling tired and weary to the bone. I had the privilege yesterday of talking to 2 classes of college students at the local college on New Age spirituality. And one of the main differences between old age religion and New Age spirituality is the fact that New Age spirituality, we really do see the interconnectedness of all life. We really are striving to really love one another in a practical sense, not just a theoretical sense. Religions, at least the religions that I was growing up in, the churches that I grew up in, often sang a song, "Give me that old time religion, makes me love everybody." In Simon's poem, a beaten woman was outside of the church, and the minister called the police on her and went back to reading his Bible. Because the old time religion If you're not part of us, we can't love you. And Jesus said, if you only love those that agree with you, how are you any different than people that are unawakened in the world, or as the heathen are? How are you different than the goyim, as some people claim others to be? These derogatory terms that we use to separate ourselves from one another and override our own capacity of our heart to be godlike and loving. The old-time religion is not what we need. And even though some of the students were obviously shutting out the message, probably because they've got a lot of that old-time religion where everybody's separate from everybody else. And if your idea is different than my idea, then I don't need to listen to you. And you're wrong. And so I'm going to put up barriers. And I'm not going to receive the love you're trying to give. And as I pointed out, that's everyone's privilege. Because God, in His infinite grace, has given us all the capacity to love according to the way that we choose to see ourselves and to see the world, and even how we choose to see God. If we see God as a punishing deity that will strike us down when we aren't good enough, when we don't get the right answer on the test of who is the greatest, is it Jesus, or is it Muhammad, or is it Buddha, or is it Kuan Yin, or is it Great Spirit, or some other name that in our group we've applied? We see all the differences because we look at outward appearances. God sees the heart. Which God? There's only one Creator that holds everything together in grace and in mercy and in love. The God that says, I kill and I make alive. I create good and I create evil. That one, the one that I'm quoting from the very scriptures of the Bible. The one that maybe wrote, all have sinned and come short of my glory. And many people say, yes, all of us. That means all of us. But then it also says, and Christ is all and in all. But they don't believe that because they're not looking at the heart. They're not seeing the divine essence, the capacity to love that exists in each one of our hearts. And if I can convey any message to those of you who listen to me, who choose to hear what I'm saying, that message is that you and I have a tremendous capacity to love as God does, to transcend the differences we see on the outside and the conditions that are plainly evident to us in the physical realm. And we're able to see the connection of the heart, that we really are all one. We saw that again last night as Margie had her It's All About Love monthly meeting here. And we stared into each other's eyes and touched each other at the heart level. Soul to soul, we connected with one another and exercised our capacity to give and to receive love, to be our unique selves, though different, yet so much the same, with the same longings, the same dream of peace, of being heard, of being seen, of being accepted, of being loved. We all share that in common, and it doesn't matter what names we use, what words we use, what beliefs we ascribe to. It only matters that we recognize that the divine is in all of us, regardless of the roles we have chosen to play, regardless of the path that our feet walk upon, regardless of all the things that we've been trained so well to separate ourselves from each other. Regardless of all of these obstacles, we still have the capacity to love one another. And that's what I want to awaken in me and help others to awaken in themselves, for you to awaken it in yourself more and more and more. As I've gone through my days of late, this week especially, every time that I'm conscious of a judgmental thought coming through my mind, I do Ho'oponopono. Been doing it a lot. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And I recognize that there's something that transcends all of my judgments and makes my judgments seem foolish. The only thing that I'm here for, and if you can accept it, the only thing that you're here for is to love. And by this shall people know that you understand and know God on an intimate and personal level, because you love. If you're one of the people that's still trying to make people different than you, still trying to draw circles that exclude people because they don't see it your way, I invite you to stop it. You're only adding to the problem. You're not presenting any solution at all. Even if you're saying, no, but they've got to believe that Jesus died on the cross for them, and they've got to see Jesus as I see Jesus. I invite you to think of it differently. No, we don't. No one does. We can see God as God manifests in our own life, as the capacity to love and to be loved. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. That's the message I'm trying to give. That's the New Age spirituality. It transcends the old age religions of separation and division and warring. So many religious wars have been fought through human history, of people trying to win out their point of view over somebody else's. Allow each person to have his or her point of view and draw a circle that includes them, because from God's point of view, God, who looks at the heart, who is the prime creator, the great spirit, the Holy Spirit, and holy doesn't mean separate. We've made it mean separate in so many cases, but it means whole. It means all-inclusive. It means everyone and everything part of God. That's not pantheism. That's spiritual reality proven by mystics who are also physicists. New Age spirituality doesn't compartmentalize into everything, and well, that's politics, and that's business, and that's something else. No, New Age spirituality, the age of the spirit that we're moving into, we're seeing that all of these compartments are interconnected, and each of them has a voice, and it's the voice of God, either loving or calling out to be loved. If we take the capacity to love into our hearts, we will transform not only our own lives, but ultimately the entire world. We will transform politics and business and banking and all of the systems that have been built up in the world. We will transform them from self-service to service to others, and that ultimately serves the self, because it all comes back. What you put out comes back. If you put out the division and the separation, you're going to get back the experience of feeling alienated and separated. But we have the opportunity today and every day of our lives to see as God sees, and to look at the heart of every other human you meet. And you have the capacity to say, I choose love. I leave you with these thoughts this morning. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.